This piece is called Second Chance. It's because, well, I was walking through the woods looking, and I saw a bunch of sticks, and I wanted to put them together and make something a little bit bigger. Give them a second chance to be part of something else. Yeah, the wire sculptures hanging are representing, I guess, the fruit of the tree.
I'm hearing words here that don't necessarily go with what I'm looking at, and sometimes it's the words that are more interesting than the imagery. Well, and I can't say that exclusively here either, because if I were to separate out some of these
I wanted to give the piece like a sense of life, and because I mean, all the branches it's dead.
I think what he means is that the fruit kind of dresses up like a tree, and like the same way these little ornaments and dressing like that.
I mean, it just makes it a Christmas tree.
Yeah, I know what he means, and I don't dispute the fact that there's a charm to what he's doing here, but I think there may be 2 or 3 different pieces that are at work here, rather than, and you know, for him to sort this out and maybe separate them out and have approach each one individually.
So this is a branch, isn't it, tree?
Well, yeah, they're just branches from.
So it's,
I made it.
What do you mean you made it into a tree?
These parts, all the branches, it's just one stick.
Glue it in.
Right.
Great illusion. What would you do if you had all the time in the world? Would you make a more elaborate tree? I mean, that's kind of ingenious, the way you pieced dead twigs together to make a you know, we're all professionals and we didn't know it was pieced together.
Speak for yourself.
You're a sculptor, but you knew, but it's a pretty good illusion. Would you do even more elaborate illusions?
Well, yeah, there's like a bunch of knobs coming off that I could have put more sticks, but I was worried about, you know, getting branches in the way of the spinning.
Because I think Mark was responding, as I was, to the act of surgically reconstructing a tree, which is not like grafting because you're using all the dead wood, but then disguising it in this manipulative, very interesting way, very careful way.
I think that they're interesting things that you're playing with. I mean, one thing when you talk about the wire, the idea of maybe moving from, I don't know what, making a branch and another branch out of wire or something, I don't know.
What interests me also is you could call them the alive things, and you call the tree the dead things. For me, the most alive thing is the tree. The dead things are those sort of ornaments because they're not terribly inventive. And I guess your idea of life is something that moves.
I want to go back. You characterized the ornaments as complicating it. I think they do the opposite.
I'm not saying that successfully you would not do that.
But I don't think they do it all. I think they simplify it. They kind of dumb it down in a way. I mean, that sort of like pathetic urge to rebuild it, you know? The tree's dead. It didn't need your permission to die. It did. And now you're sort of like giving it this second chance, but the pathos is what's so interesting. And then the ornaments are just
Peripheral.
Yeah.
I guess presenting the wire came to be a bigger part of the project than I had expected. So.
Yeah.
But I think what's curious here is that there's a certain pathway that Zeke followed here, which was the original idea of make these delicate linear structures that might have some kinetic power. Then figure out how you're going to present them, how you're going to hang them. Then the tree idea comes about. The tree is manipulated, and suddenly the focus shifts from the original idea of these little linear things to the tree itself. But for you, Zeke, I think there's a real lesson to be learned here as well in terms of how an idea shifts its emphasis unknowingly at times.
What an artist does is spend their life working on things that generally have a lot of continuity. Could you see spending, you know, the next 35 years working with this subject matter?
To me, that's an important question because there's something so tough about critiquing a single object that exists in isolation. It doesn't have a before, it doesn't have an after. I don't know your level of commitment. I don't know if we're looking at one single thing that was never going to grow, or what it suggests to you in some larger, more interesting way.
I think that this is utterly exploitative. Really? I really do.
For Georgia?
Insulting.
For an artist, it would be
I think
exploitative.
It's just pretty much straight aestheticization of this image that's just this image. Like you said, we see these all the time. Exactly. We see this all the time, and how does the 30th one affect you differently than the 29th?
I'm interested in George's reaction to this. That's the only thing, quite frankly, I'm interested in.
Yeah, I mean, I'm interested in that problem as an artist of how you deal with the fact that you suspected that it's exploitative and someone tells you that, yeah, it is completely.
An artist isn't somebody who does something once in reaction to something that they were very moved by in a class. That's not an artist.
I'm just curious, at what point do you make the determination, or who makes the determination? Who's an artist?
Unfortunately, I don't do it. Well, we're pros, and so, it's like the musket and a fly. I mean, it doesn't make any sense to trash.
No, not trashing.
Or even criticize.
She expressed genuine concern in being complicit in this exploitation. I was saying, yeah, you're right, it is.
But I don't know that she's saying that. She's saying that there's some guilty pleasure
Yeah.
in taking an image that has a sense of reality somewhere in the world, whether you're connecting with it, the conduit is the photograph, and aestheticizing it, making a decision. And, it's kind of a weird reaction in a sense. I mean, I'm impressed that you feel that so poignantly, like, okay, now this is that shade of brown, and I've got this scrap of hair, and I'll put it here.
I mean,
but then there's this sort of feeling of guilt and disconnect.
It's not like being an artist.
That's interesting.
Yes, I think
That's
it
like
is.
being an artist.
Yeah.
That's what you might feel if you
Because I
decide to
wouldn't
be an
feel
artist.
today if I was just.
You'd feel,
slightly
you know what you'd
photographed
feel? You'd
something.
feel
That's the reality
ambivalence.
of it.
You'd feel immense doubt. You'd feel immense shame. That's what artists feel all the time. They feel really conflicted. I'm not being hyperbolic. I believe it.
And then a little happiness.